We are now recording.
Thank you, Peggy, for doing
it looked good.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Right. Yeah. I love it. Whoever has the kids singing gets bonus points from all of us.
Has class music at the same time. And I just noticed I'm not muted.
That's okay. Welcome to the PRSA Weekly Chat, hacking the virtual meetings so that we can all deal with these incredible meetings. So I did a webinar actually for another PRSA chapter, and we called it the 7 Ways to Get Engaged. So I've got some ideas, but this isn't really about me doing a presentation. This is about all of us kind of sharing. And I am going to, before the 45 minutes closes, we're going to do a poll and we're going to vote on our top 2 tips for hacking a meeting. So I need you to get ready, get started. I collected some of you, were wonderful, and you put in some questions and some ideas into our polls already, so we've got some things to build on. And we also have the chat. So I'm going to ask you guys to use the chat as you hear things that sound exciting. Go ahead and throw them in the chat. What we're going to do is all the cool ideas that you guys come up with, we're going to throw on the PRSA blog so that we can all have some serious fun. So first of all, a couple of real quick things I just want to mention to you. On your control bar, which is your menu bar on the bottom of your screen, you are going to see a couple of things. You're going to see, as you go across, an icon for polls. Well, actually, you may not see the polls. You'll see the chat, which is the chat box. That you're going to click on that to activate it to be able to go ahead and chat away. You're going to see the reactions. That's the other one I want you to look at, okay? And so the reactions is a little circle with a plus sign on it. I'd like each of you to go ahead and find the reactions, and when you have found it, I want you to give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you found the reaction button. Yes, look at this. We got some people that know exactly what they're doing. Awesome. So the reason why I like to do this is because one of the things that we could do to make our meetings more exciting is to go ahead and allow people to have those easy to interrupt to say something, right? So I'd like to now ask you all to please give a round of applause to our president, Lisa Koster. So on that reaction button, give me the clap.
And I'm going to clap verbally because I do not have a reaction button. So I don't know. I don't have it. So.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? We love verbal too. That's why we're all on video, where those of us that can be, and we're also all on chat. So you also have the chat too. So let's use that. Now, the second thing that makes kind of things fun is you see that I'm at the beach. There was nobody on the plane. It was so easy to get here. And let me just turn around for a moment. Oh, what I have on my seat is something known as a portable web-around screen. I'm using it, but what I love is you see Diana is just using the regular screen. She's just using the regular virtual background, and I want to show you how to get to it. So, but first, the way I'm going to show it to you is I'm going to share my screen, and share. Oh, I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to take us to, this is my slide deck, and I can make this slide deck available to you guys, no problem. Slideshow from current slide. Well, there we go. That is my COVID joke of the day for us guys, by the way. I figured we might need a little light thing. I don't know how many of you saw this. First day back at school after lockdown. We've all aged quite a bit. Okay, I am going to zip through these real quickly to get you to this slide. So I love this YouTube channel, Howfinity, Howfinity. It's on YouTube. And I'm showing this to you because this is, and go watch it if you need to, this is one of the many that he has. He's showing us how to add a virtual background. So you go to your video icon, you click on the up arrow button, you choose virtual background. Excuse me. It'll bring up the virtual background options. As you can see, there will be some that will be there. You could also, though, if you chose to, add an image, and you can download an image. Our lovely Lisa Koster has done that. She's created her own image, the PRSA chapter thing. So I bring this to you so that you are able to go ahead and do that. So Dawn says, when I try to add a virtual background, it's always telling me I think it's not good enough without a green screen. Sad face. I can do it in Teams, though. Yes, good, Dawn. Woohoo! Yeah, I had to. I'll tell you what. The secret that I used when I wanted to, I've created some of my own. I've downloaded them. The secret I have found is to get it off of Big Stock, iStock, one of those professional sites, or have a professional do it if you can. Just because they're always more powerful. Or if you have a really good iPhone, it'll work. So anyway, just a thought there. I totally get that. So everybody keep, please sharing your tips and your ideas. So those are 2 tips from me. The tip was how to use the reaction button, and the second tip was to make your background here. And I got one more tip for us before I asked you guys to talk about what you can do. So here's the deal. I am so tired of being in a house with the same 2 people, and we're always the same people. So I'm going to ask each of us now to take on a new personality. And what I want you to do is you're going to go on to your name on the screen. You are going to right-click your name. You're going to choose on the menu, rename, and you're going to give yourself the superhero you always wanted to be. And just like that, we are changing who we are, bringing in a whole new world. So I'm the only one, huh? Come on, people. Don't tell me you don't have a superhero. Oh, about to try to Florida Man. Woo-hoo! There we go. Wonder Woman, a.k.a. Diana. I love it. I love it. So one of the cool things did recently with a meeting was we had people change their names as we were going through and doing processes. So we were having a lot of fun asking people to, the first thing was put your superhero up there, Tina Fey. And another time I asked everybody, we were picking between a couple of different scenarios. So I said, rather than doing the chat to put A, B, or C, I said put A, B, or C on your thing, so we could see what everybody was voting for along the way. So I say this because if we're going to make virtual meetings more engaging, we have to give people stuff to do, right? Don't have them just sit there and go, is she stopping talking? No, we have to get them to do some things. So I think that's a really another cool way of us doing it. Now I got other ideas, but I am not the only one with ideas. Am I right?
Had some good ones though.
Thank you. Okay, Tina, what's your tip of the day?
Mine?
Yeah.
Or anybody's?
Well, yes, Tina.
Well, I guess what I'll share, like with our team meetings that we've had, it's interesting having when everyone like got scurried all over the place, because when we were working together in the office, we weren't gelling as well. And somehow we've managed, like we're coming together daily, a smaller group and then a bigger group. And so then we started doing like some more creative things. Like now actually what we're doing is we have a different theme of the day and everybody has signed up. And so like yesterday someone led Thankful Thursdays. Today is Fun Friday and we're all playing some kind of crazy game. And, you know, so like each day there's something different. So Tuesday is Talent Tuesday. So I'm going to take Tuesday next week and show them how to like cook one of my recipes or something.
Oh, I love that.
But
so
it
you
has,
said talent?
You know, allowed for like greater synergy between the team. And for one, in being separated like this, it just allows for better sense of community, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely, the community just kind of goes when you start making those connections.
Yeah.
All right, now I'm just going to pick on people because this is what you have to do sometimes. So my special mate here, Wonder Woman, aka Diana, what's your tip?
My tips, actually, they're just really basic ones. The things like trying to get people to turn their video on. For me, I find if I have the video on, I pay attention so much more. I don't multitask. It's just so easy to get distracted. And again, even if it's just me, and I feel like if I'm the first one to switch it on, some people will, you know, some people won't. I'm not forcing people to do it. And then the other thing is just to have a really good agenda. Really like, this is the agenda. This is what we're doing. I'm also trying to end things maybe even a little early. I find back-to-back meetings really hard when you have a kid at home and they like want to eat lunch, and, you know. But I will say I'll just sneak in one of my challenges because I love having the agenda and I love seeing nice slide decks, but I find it really challenging when we see a slideshow and then we no longer see faces.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I'm back to like, oh, zoom out, you know, kind of. So that's a challenge. I'm wondering, how do we master that?
So you can so on a meeting, in a Zoom meeting, the faces will still stay, but you'll have to reset so you can still continue to see them, and they will be smaller. So what I have found, you'll notice I brought the slide deck up. If we need it, I'm going to bring it back up again.
Right.
So what I've really learned to do, and I actually learned this from my business partner, is bring the deck up when you need it, put it back down again. Bring it up, put it back down again.
And you don't need it. Yeah.
Yeah, because, you know, we tend to think, oh, we have to leave it. Yeah, no. Yes. So just, you know, use it. Use it when you need it. Yeah. The other thing, I was on so we're testing things constantly, right? And not only that, but all of these, and we're on Teams now, so we're testing the whole team platform for the video meetings. But we get a group of people together and we test things. And so one of the things we were testing was using whiteboards, the virtual whiteboards with the meeting, so that we could scribe and people could be connected and stuff. And so we were testing using a Trello board. And one of the things we found was that, yes, the person who's doing the typing could share the screen, right, made people smaller. What was more effective was we got everybody on the Trello board so that everybody was on the board, and then we taught everybody how to do a split screen, you know, so you put the Zoom over here so you could still see all the people in a larger image, and then the board was over here, and we were multitasking. You could do the same thing with a Google Doc, right? And then that, I think, Diana, that kind of would help us a lot. So, excellent. Okay, so about to drive to Florida, man's already given us one. No pun zoom out, no pun intended. I love that. Tell us what you mean by that.
To Wonder Woman, she said zoom out. Amazing.
Okay, so what are you going to add to our tip list?
I think I put in the sign-up form, be human, but if anybody else hasn't heard of this, I'm sure you have because it went pretty viral. There was that company called Goat to Meeting where you could get a llama or a goat to show up to your Zoom meeting. I think it probably costs money, but just something, I guess, in the vein of breaking up the monotony, doing something interactive or something that's stress relieving or calm to look at, especially if you have back-to-back multiple meetings, anything to combat Zoom fatigue, which I'm sure we're all.
Right. I love it. I totally love it. That is awesome. Sure. Any other ideas for how you can add that pow to get it? You want to be human, but you want to bring in that human, like, oh, that emotion, right? Anybody else have an idea about that? If you're not on video, you know, you can still either type in or you could speak in. Melanie, excellent. Pets are welcome. I love it. You know what? One of my colleagues, their team meeting was, they had a pet day. So Tina Fey, speaking of your, theme of the day, they actually had a pet day, and everybody was supposed to bring their pet. I don't have a pet, so I was glad I wasn't invited. All right, I'm coming back around again now. I'm going to go to Super Singer. What's your tip?
Hello.
Go-to meeting. I love that.
I was going to say I love agendas, and I think reviewing the agenda at the very top of the call to say this is what we're trying to accomplish today, and keeping everybody on track. So assigning that one person to make sure we're staying on topic or facilitating that meeting. I know sometimes when we're meeting internally in our offices, we don't really stick to a kind of agenda. It's more like if we're sitting in a client meeting or doing a discovery call, we're more dedicated to that agenda. But I think doing that for our internal regroups is really helpful too. And ending early, that's how you can do it with that agenda. But I'm finding that people are really craving that human connection. So just to piggyback off of that, allowing within your agenda to have some of that chit chat at the beginning of the meeting. How are you doing? How's everyone feeling? And taking the 3 to 5 minutes to connect with one another, because sometimes if we're having like a regular conference call, we're not on video, we're not as inclined to ask each other how we're doing, and just share something about what's going on. So, you don't want to lose that connection with your team or your connection with your client. So every time I start a new call, even if it is just on the phone, I make sure to ask that question. And then it kind of lightens the mood and resets the brain. And you might have been dreading having that call, but now you've made that connection and you can move on to your agenda.
Right. Absolutely. I love that. I love it. And we need to do that. And we need to also say, there was this great article, and I'll have to find the link and send it to you guys. It was about meetings, and it was about how do we create meetings that are really powerful. And it was written initially, I believe, in the day of face-to-face meetings, right? But it's really applicable, and it talks about keeping your meeting to 2 or 3 things. Like, this is not about a series of reports or every staff person giving a chance to air a report. You want all the conversation, but the conversation should be dialogue, right, discussion around and just a couple of items. And the cool thing he said was, don't allow a topic or a discussion go more than 30 minutes. Break it. And if the only way to break it is to say, okay, everybody, it is stretch time. Keep the cameras on, but leave the table, right? And then you get a yes, and then you have the opportunity to move around. So I absolutely love that. Totally love that. All right, Wonder Woman PV. Okay, go ahead. No, Tina, go.
I was just thinking. I always think about things just about the, how's everybody feeling and connecting perspective. Because this whole thing, it's not like we're just like, oh, a storm hit. This is like unlike anything we've ever experienced in life, and it's constant. And so having just that, being able to connect with others, I think that I know for our team and in other ways, it's just you're looking at it in a different way. Like it has to feel a little bit more, because any one of us is susceptible to a different emotion at any particular time of the day.
Right.
It's a lot, and so. But we have to make it through. How do we do that? And so I think that helps you rely on others more, and then together you come up with better solutions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So true. Okay, Paula, Wonder Woman PV, what's your tip?
Thank you. Well, so I am going to add that I like the human factor. I recently got 2 pet birds. So you might hear them in the background besides my girl that is about to sing and the other one that is running around. And so my tip would be just adapting to the needs that arise, and we just need to be, flexible. And basically for meetings, I like to have a
light space and a clear environment. But when we have to share into a limited space, I think that, we just need to be flexible and have, like take our notes. Now there's a lot of things that also like help us to be like attentive to our meetings, and these are like the chats. So sometimes when we have our questions and stuff, so there are little tools that we can follow through, and these are like our chats, and so we can follow through and ask the questions when we need to. So yeah, just be flexible and adaptive.
Excellent. Yes. Flexibility. The new word is pivot, right? I've got the pivot down just right. We're going to continue to have to pivot. All right, let's see. I want to go to Melanie. She's got her superwoman name is Melanie, and she looks like, Melanie, are you in a car?
So I was in between meetings. So those of you know I teach. And so I was in between meetings and I thought, oh, let me go run my errands. And then I got the notice that the meeting was happening and I was like, oh gosh, I did want to do this. So yeah, I'm in my car right now. But yeah, no, and because of that, I couldn't figure out how to change my name on the app. And I thought, that's another time, because I know how to change it on the computer. So I'd be Captain Marvel, for the record.
Okay, excellent. Good to know that. Good to know that.
So,
now, I love that you said that you are a teacher, right? And you said something about, I make sure my dog shows up, my husband makes an appearance, and I could be wearing Mickey Mouse ears even though we don't see the ears. Tell us more.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually thinking that I would show up with my ears on for the meeting. So my students know I grew up in Florida. I'm like a huge Disney fan, like I'm always there. And so I have a pretty ridiculous collection of Mickey Mouse ears. And it was like,
love it.
Maybe like a couple of weeks ago that like I was just in a mood and I could tell my students were kind of feeling a little bit of the doldrums, and so I just wore Mickey ears one class and they loved it. And so now it's like a thing, like every class session we get online and they're like, what ears are you wearing? So it's just something fun and different for them to, and then I have fun because I get to wear my ears even though I can't go to, I'm supposed to be, this time next week I was supposed to be on a cruise and in Disney World, so I wear my ears to make me feel, and I usually like, and I also do a lot of other things, like if I've got a lot of like silly cups and mugs and stuff. So like they'll ask me like what cups or mugs I'm using. And so we kind of like, we'll share like what our drinking vessel is at the beginning of class, like just for fun, like, hey, what are you drinking out of today? And, so especially because a lot of students are home, like for them, it's like they get to show off like, oh, this is my mug from, whatever. And so we'll do stuff like that. My dog's on all my calls pretty much. My husband, if he hears in the background, he'll be like, all right. So for me, it's trying to also keep a little bit of levity. And I think another big thing is also trying to pay attention when people are checking out. If I realize that they're like, we're 40 minutes into a class session and I'm losing them, I make a decision there, like, do they really need this information or can we call it a day?
Yes.
I love that.
Can I ask you, Melanie, how many students do you have on your calls at a time?
So it depends on the class. I have a corporate comm management class that we've got 21 students, and we've been doing a lot of guest speakers. So we'll get on Zoom and we've got all 21 students. And then I have another class with 18 and we're doing service learning and campaigns projects. So what we'll do is we always start the meeting as a class, talk about what our tasks are for the day, talk about how we're going to handle things. And then what I do is I break them off into groups and I flit around between groups the same way that I would walk around the classroom and talk to the groups individually.
Wow. So you can do that via Zoom?
So Melanie, are you using, oh, sorry, Tina, sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. I was like, Melanie, are you using Zoom rooms?
So when I have guest speakers, we use Zoom so that we've got an outside software that people can access, but we actually have a tool on our course website called Collaborate. and it basically functions the exact same way as Zoom, and it has a lot of those capabilities. So we do breakout rooms in that software.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anybody else on the call here use Zoom rooms or breakout rooms as a way of making some a little bit more interactivity on your meetings?
Not yet. Is that a function in the free Zoom or not?
I think it's the pro version of it.
Okay, so I have not used because I only have the free version of Zoom.
Yeah, yeah. So that's it's in a paid version, and it's in the meetings, not in the webinar. And so for those of you familiar with Zoom, Zoom has two sides of the right now, two sides. One is the meetings, and the meetings include everybody on video, includes breakout rooms, and the reactions. Okay. Webinars, the only person on video are hosts and speakers, or panelists, they call them, right? That's the only two that are on video. They do not allow breakout rooms, but you do have a little bit additional. You have the Q&A, and you have a few other functions. So they are different. You got to get to the paid version to get really a robust, I would call it, robust use of those. But there's so many. Some of the traditional video conferencing don't offer things like breakouts. Zoom is one of them that does, but there's other, obviously, as Melanie's mentioned, there are other platforms that do that. One of the things that I saw when somebody was demonstrating, and there wasn't a breakout option. So what she did was in advance, she told us, and she put up on the screen what group we were in, and it was kind of interesting, not as good as being in a breakout room, but then we all went to a Google Doc that was assigned to that group, and we collaborated on the Google Doc, and then when we came back together again, and the requirement was that we kept our video cameras on while we were collaborating on the video doc. Now we weren't all looking, we're all over here like this, right? But her point was, you're still in the group. So she wanted us to still have that feeling where you could look over your shoulder and see that everybody was still there. So there are, kind of hacks you can do if you don't have the full platform. So
you have to imagine there's going to be a lot more of that innovation going forward. This is the time when innovation takes place. I mean, because with education and everything else, this could become more of, and I mean, because I was sick a lot throughout the past month, and I had to do a lot of telemed appointments, and so there will be more and more of those kinds of things, which is always interesting to see.
I did my first PT appointment, tele-PT appointment.
Really?
It was awesome. So the first one I went to, you're in a place, and so you stand up, and she can see what's going on, and she had me check some movements, and then she had me do some self stuff. And there was one area that I couldn't reach. She goes, "Hey, is your husband there?" I go, "Yeah." Pulled the husband in, and she told him exactly where he was placing it on my back, to do the adjustment. Said, "Look, this is an adjustment. You can't go wrong. I wouldn't give you one that's going to be, He did it. I mean, it was a hoot, and also like fab. I mean, it was just really, it was kind of cool. So anyway, yeah, I think you're right. Lots of innovation.
With communications, because this is facilitating a more meaningful conversation, and so I think there's a lot of room to look at in terms of how can communications enhance this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Elastigirl, did you have a tip to share?
Yes, I have two. So one is to have your laptop raised up so it's eye level, so it's not shooting you from chin up to the ceiling. And also putting a white piece of paper under your chin. Apparently it illuminates your face better, brightens up your face. So I heard that from someone else a few weeks ago.
Do we just do this and hold it up there?
No, just, beyond the view of your audience, but have white paper underneath your face on the desk or whatever, and it illuminates your face better.
Because you're getting a reflective of light. You're using the light reflection. I like that. Okay, to lighten up the face. Okay.
So I just want to add, so essentially a lot of the best practices of videos, live videos apply here because this is a visual medium. So we're back to that. So all of that does definitely. I just have one quick tip to add. I have seen back to the backgrounds. It's super important to know what's going on behind you when you are on camera, because I have seen on social media, there was a reporter, she was doing her thing, recording her video, and her husband was taking a shower in the background. And he was clearly on video camera. So you have to be totally aware of what's going on behind you if you have not replaced your background with some other image. So that's my my 2 cents.
I love it. Well, we also had, I'm trying to think, did I get to everybody that wants to add, or because I have some on the poll and I'm going to share those. Anybody need anything to add? All right. You guys can interrupt me. You know that, right? So one person said lighting in front of you, and that's absolutely true. Make sure you do not have a big glare behind you. Absolutely. So, Melanie, it's okay if I point you out, right? You're in an awkward place, so I just want to mention this. Do you see how her sky roof is okay because there's so much cloud, but you're getting a little bit of bounce off of her side window? Now, she can't do anything about it, but that just gives us an opportunity for us to see, whereas Laurie, a.k.a. Tina Fey, she's closed her blinds behind her, so that we're not getting that, but yet there's enough light in the room, right? So, but putting the light in front of you, or to Lisa's idea, some light underneath you is gonna help. So I love that one. Someone said, I think it was Greta said, mute your microphone until you want to participate. I think and it's real easy to on your if you're on the phone with this, it's real easy to do that. But you could certainly easily just look at the control on the bottom, and it says where the mute is. You can mute and unmute. There's actually a shortcut key which I can never remember because I never use it. But there's a really cool document that that you can just Google Zoom shortcut keys, and there's a really cool key to do a real quick on your keyboard. Do that.
It's the space bar.
Require passwords to end. Yeah. Say again?
It's the space bar. So just hold the space bar when you want to talk, and then when you release it, it mutes you again.
Okie dokie. So let's do that. Ready? Let's all try. Space bar.
Yeah, it does work.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
That's what I just did.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Unless you put it on mute first.
Thank you. That's cool.
Yeah, put it on mute first,
cool.
and then you
there we go.
you hit the keep talking. Yes. So somebody put that in chat right now, please. Super Singer, put it in chat. And there's another hack, by the way. If you're facilitating the meeting, ask people to do things. Don't do it all yourself. Okay. Someone said require passwords to enter meetings. More and more, that's going to be important. Zoom has done a lot to shore up some of the security issues, but that's an important thing. The camera angle is key to looking your best, yes. And also, by the way, if you want people to think that you're talking to them, you got to look into the camera. I know we want to look down here at the people because that's where we're getting our feedback from, but you need to look up here. One way to deal with that is to take the Zoom screen and push, if your camera's to the top like mine is, take that screen and push it up so that all of the images are coming in across the side here. It'll be easier for you then to feel that. Turn off alerts for emails and messaging platforms like, oh my God, Deborah, so important. Deborah put that in there. I don't know if she's on the call. Listen, guys, you really need to. Just do it because you can't be present, but more importantly, if you share your screen, we're going to see everything that's happening. I have a client of mine, the dude, I've told him how many times, his emails, he has a notification, and but it brings up the first part of the message. I have seen some messages I should not see, right? And I'm like, dude, it's a good thing I'm not the kind of person that talks. I mean, I tweet, but I don't talk, so you're safe. And then leave them all wanting more. I love what Christian said. Is Christian on the phone call? Video? I don't see a Christian here. Let me go look into my thing. All right, Christian, I was going to put you on the spot and ask you what you meant by that, because I think leaving them all wanting more is like way important. So, so a couple of folks said we had some questions, and I know we're rolling into our time here, and I had to get to that great vote. But someone said, so Dawn asked the question, to get a consensus on a Zoom call, especially when you can't see everybody's facial expressions. So the thing I recommend is using the chat, and you might want to go with the facilitator's fist to 5. If you got everybody on video, it's really easy to do. So the fist to 5 says that on a scale of what would be no way, I do not agree with that decision, I can't go there, to I am all in and a raving fan, you say to someone, show me where you are. Where are you on this decision? If I called for a decision, or maybe it's a particular topic, if we were going to make a decision of red versus purple, how do you feel about that? In consensus, you're going to have everybody a 3 or higher, right? That's what consensus is. Everybody's a 3 or higher. So you can do that. Now, you can do this, but if you don't have that, if you're on the chat, you can have everybody put in the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so, and the thing is that will allow people to kind of get their vote. Now, I don't personally, I feel that if you're in a meeting and everybody needs to be consensus, everybody should know what everybody's voting. But if there's sensitivity, you can also tell everybody to do that 1 through 5, but do it only to you in the chat, so that we can't see who's done it. And then you can simply say, okay, I got a couple of 2s, and so for me to have a couple of 2s, I need you now to chat to me what's holding you back. So I would suggest that you could certainly do the fist to 5. And that can be visual and also in the chat.
And just
anybody else have any other suggestions?
Well, and just to add on to that, one of the things that I've been doing is if it's a simple poll, like if it's a, hey, do we want to do this on this day? I'll do like, do we have a quorum type of thing? And I'll have them raise their hand. So like you just see everybody do the hand raising thing if it's just a simple vote too.
Love that. Love that. Let's see. The other thing I saw was, just in general, how do you decrease distractions and stay motivated? That's all about getting people stuff to do. If they're not doing stuff, they're not going to stay. They're not going to stay with you. That's just like when I said, hey, put that idea in chat. I mean, she was, back engaged again. So I think that was it. So what other problems or questions do you guys have? Is there a way to keep chats after the meeting is over? Yes. At bottom of your chat screen, you have the 3 little ellipses right next to the word file.
Okay.
Save chats right there. And you can do that multiple times. It will overwrite it, but you can do that. The other way to do it, before I found that out, the way I did it was right before the thing was over, I did put my cursor in the chat, and I did Control-A, Control-C, and then I pasted it. So that's also the other way. But I do like the chat function there. If you're using Zoom and you're saving to the cloud, it will save it. That's where it'll be, up in the cloud. If you're doing it local save, it'll save down here. Anybody else got that? All righty. We got 3 minutes left, and I got to create a poll for us because the winner we'll get a little surprise. So come on. Okay, add a poll, add a question. Here we go. Your top pick. And I'm going to make it multiple choice so you can vote for your top 2. How's that? And let's see if I can find them. I'm going to need some help here, guys, on the ones we want to vote on. So where am I? Oops. Oh, come on. All right. All right, so you guys start calling off the top ideas that you've seen, and I will write them in the poll, and then we're going to vote. So what's the top ones? Come on. The white sheet of paper, I'm going to put that in.
Use an agenda.
Changing the name.
Use an agenda. I'm going to put a power agenda. Changing the name.
Stretch breaks.
Stretch breaks, yes. Stretch breaks, more the merrier. Okay.
Fun backgrounds.
Fun backgrounds, absolutely.
Mute yourself in the meeting and spacebar trick.
Yes.
Okay, mute and spacebar trick. I like that one.
Camera angle.
Love that. I put angel. Okay, guys, the polling thing does not have spell check, so be nice to me.
You also said look at the camera, not down. So look forward. Yeah. Lighting is important. The light in front of you.
Perfect.
You also mentioned the Zoom shortcut thing to Google, which I will be doing.
Okay. Yep. All right. All right, I can put one more on this poll. Anybody else?
The thumbs up and
Oh yeah.
Yeah, reactions. I love that. Okay. So one of the things that you can also do is you can use the Alt-X keys to create a thumbs up and a thumbs down in the chat, and I'll show you a slide as we're ending with all of that. I'm going to save this, and I'm going to launch the poll. And here's the deal. It's multiple choice, so you can pick. I'm going to suggest you pick up to 2, and we're going to see the winner. So go ahead and da da dee da 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 da. I can't sing. I can't sing. My partner says, "Do not sing." La da 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 da. We got 10 people have come in. Who are we missing? Who are we missing? She really can't sing. Thank you.
Said that. That better be your husband.
No, it isn't. Unless he came in.
Was that Carol? Was that
Is
Carol?
that Peter?
It probably was Carol. Hey, it's not my fault. It wasn't a gift that I have. I could dance. All right. I'm going to end the polling. Anybody didn't poll? Anybody didn't poll? Anybody didn't vote? All right. The winners are the power agenda and the stretch breaks. All right. Yay! Woo-hoo, woo-hoo. All right. Guys. We are at 1:47. Oh, I'm so bad. I took us over just a little bit. Let me just show you one thing. I'm going to share my screen one last time, and when I share my screen, it'll be our closing shot, because I just want to give you a few options, and I will send out this entire deck to you guys. I don't know why that doesn't. Okay. There we go.
I like that picture.
Sorry about that. I'll send the whole deck out to you. But here's my go-to list of cool places to find virtual team buildings, virtual icebreakers, how to change your background, and then how do you blur your background on Skype, blur your background on Teams. Goodbye boring meetings, lots and lots of stuff. So guys, we got to go. We got to end. We got to get back to our lives, but do yourselves a favor. No more boring virtual meetings. An agreement? Everybody show me the thumbs up.
Oh, hold on. Darn it.
Woo-hoo!
I'm doing it live.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Hey, Elastigirl, anything you want to say to the crew to finish up as the president of PRSA? Tell us what we're having next.
Thank you all for joining us. We should have a weekly chat next week. Stay tuned. In the week of the 11th, we do have a paid program. It's all about surveys and what journalists look for in survey data, especially as we're pivoting with the pandemic. So join us for that. It's being done by ResearchScape. You'll see information about that coming online probably Monday. So thank you again. Thank you, Peggy, very much.
Thank you. This was awesome.
You're very welcome.
Bye, everybody. Great job.
It was a delight.
Everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you. It was awesome.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.